Now let's take a look at the math view. The math view is not related to the writing view or the picture view at all. You have a number of different choices when you're choosing the math tool. You can work with color tiles, pattern blocks, base 10 blocks, fraction tiles, fraction boxes, or a free workspace. Let's look at the color tiles. All of the interfaces pretty much work the same. You have your toolbars up here if you want to change to a different math tool. You have erase, which we'll get to, undo, and redo, and name. Also, a difference between math tiles and the picture view is you get multiple pages. So you can set up a page in one tool and keep adding pages and see the different pages. So you can be setting up different problems or different steps of problems, or have kids work on multiple pages and they don't have to erase, so they could be showing their work and their progression. And so you've got this little interface where you can choose the different pages, you can add a page in here, and it can be a different kind of page. So your next page could be a pattern block, and it says right here what page you're on, 2, and you can use the arrows. 1, I'm on color tiles, and 2, I'm in pattern blocks. So you can, when you're saving things as activities, if you're setting something up, remember this is a great feature. So you don't have to have multiple pages, but you can, and they can be different things. So maybe you want them color tiles, pattern blocks, and then they're working in fraction tiles, or all the pages can be the same. So right now I'm just going to set some things up. So we have a color tile page, fraction block page. We'll do a base 10 block page, and then we'll add one more page so I can show you examples of each. Oops, I didn't mean go to. And we'll just add a fraction boxes page. Okay, and so you can tell what kind of page you're in by the things, your choices of symbols in the sides. So page 5 is a fraction box page, page 4 is a base 10, page 3 is a fraction page, 2 is a pattern block, and 1 is just the color tiles. So in the color tiles, you have your color tiles that you can just drag in. You can change the look of the color tiles down here. Whatever color tile is selected, you can change the color. You can put an X on them. You can pick from a other sea of colors. So once again, your formatting is down here. You can put a grid on your page, remove the grid. So let's just put the grid here. And I can move my tiles into the grid. And it's kind of like snapping to the grid. Now, I can click on multiple things again by holding my Shift key down, and then I can change multiple things. Oops, X won't let me change it. So you can change multiple things. I must have forgotten to click on this one. So we got them all, and you can make them all the same if you want to. Once again, that was Shift clicking. You can change a shape by just clicking on it. It just adds shapes. Or just adding shapes. So you can't change the shape. Here you have, if for some reason you want to put a line, I'm just grabbing at the end and moving it around. Or you can grab in the middle and move it around for lines. And the ABC gives you like a text box. So here's my text box where I can type what I want in. You can type in letters or numbers. Okay, so plus signs or equal signs. Here we're talking about the super groupers, which we'll get into later. It allows you to put multiple shapes in. So the key thing with the cubes, like I said, is you remember you select multiple if you want, and then you can change the different colors. Okay, you can erase things. You can put the name. So now let's take a look at pattern blocks. Same thing, can move the pattern blocks in. You can hold Shift key down so you can make them the same color if you want. You've got the line tool. You can grab an end or grab in the middle. You can click on one and clear them if you want to. You just click and drag them out. You've got the super grouper, so you could group shapes for whatever reason in. Basically, it's select it. You got your formatting, you drag them around, build whatever you want. Once again, text box for typing directions. One thing I noticed about the text box, you got to click on it if you want to move it. click on it so you see the little squares in the corner. Sometimes it's hard. And then you can move it where you want. And you have the name thing again if you want to add a name. So let's go to the next one. Fractions. So you got fraction pieces for making equivalent fractions or adding or whatever you want to do. I'm just clicking and dragging, and as they touch each other, they kind of go together. You click on one, you can change the color from a series of colors. You can put patterns in the back of them if you want to. Remember, it's all what you select. If you want to select more than one, hold the shift key down, select more than one, and then you can make them all dotted if you want to. You don't want the pattern anymore, just click on undo the pattern. This guy here hides the fraction labels on all of them. Not even ones that they're not even selected. It's either all or none with the hiding of the fraction labels, which is slightly annoying. Okay, same thing. You can add a text box. You've got your straight line tool. Notice in your text box, look what you got: plus, equals, colors, make the letters bigger, make the letters smaller. Look, you can even put a little formula thing in here. So I could say 4 plus, and plus. So you got a little formula. So you got to look down at the formatting thing to see your choices. Let me see if those are the choices in here too. Yep. On all of the different times, if you're in the text box, you can type normal text or you can use these symbols down here. And look, there's all these different symbols for doing different kinds of math problems, but you have to be in a text box. So watch, if I just have my text box selected, they won't be in here, but you have to click in the text box like you're typing and you get your choices down here. Okay, let's add another page, the fraction boxes page. Fraction boxes basically put these boxes, you can see part 1, you can arrow up 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. Let's see how it goes. Wow, it goes to a lot of parts. Not sure how high it goes. We could Google that. So it can be like a comparison to show what parts equal what parts. And what you can do is you can click in the different pieces and put in the different colors. So instead of in little separates, you can basically customize your own. So you've got all those different colors. I'm not going to do 26 parts, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this one because that's huge. So it's kind of a comparison. So you can show how, 2 halves can equal 2 fourths. And all I'm doing is clicking in the little different boxes and choosing the color. You can shift click and select different pieces, but not within different ones. So if I'm holding the shift key down, I'm clicking here and I click up here, it's not going to change. But you can hold multiple pieces. If you hold shift, you can do multiple pieces within a part, not in separate parts. You can also add the X's. You can do the patterns again as well. Want to undo a pattern, just undo a pattern. You have, once again, this line tool. The ends, move it around. Click in the middle, moves the whole thing. You have the text box. And remember, down here is all the formatting. And you have to be in the text box, not seeing the red dots around the text box to get the formatting down here. So you have all the different operation signs, percent. Look at all the different signs you got. You can even make division boxes, like look, a division. Or you can make your own fraction box as well. So you can explore the different formatting, but remember, you've got to be in like the text box or the writing box and not have it selected. You don't want to see the 4 squares around it. If you have it selected, that's how you can move it somewhere else. And then you can add all your different pieces. So that's fraction parts. And let's go to add another page, and we're going to add a base 10 page. So you've got your single blocks and your base 10 blocks in either direction. On these guys down here on the formatting bar, you can lay them down or stand them up. You got your hundreds and you got your thousands. You can also separate your tens. See down here, it lets you separate them into little pieces and separate them into little squares, and even then separate them into the base tens, separate them into hundreds. You want to put them back together, you can put them back together. You also have tens, ones, hundreds. So once they're separated, you can drag them out. Then you will not be able to put them back together. These are hundreds that I separated. You can't put them back together. You can only separate them. Once they're separated, if you immediately put them back together, you put them back together. But watch. If I separate them and then drag one of them out, if it'll let me, there I got one, you cannot put them back together again. So it's not like I can go like this and put it back up here and I can put them back together again. See, so once you take something and separate it, show you again, and you separate it, and you separate it. If you drag a piece out of it, you have to click on just one of the pieces. If I drag one piece out of it and I separate it, it's not going to let me come over here and put everything back together. You can only separate. So be careful. So it's a cool feature that you can separate and put together, but like I said, here show you again. Separate, I can put it back together. Separate, I can put it back together. But if I separate and then click on one of the pieces and move it out, I can't go like this and then put it back together. And you can see you have your hundreds, your tens, and your ones for arranging. You've got your super grouper, so you could do comparisons. We'll talk more about super grouper later. So just to review over with the math view, what you have is you start with one page, but over here you can view all your different pages. You can add them. You can click on a page and go to a page. You can build multiple pages. You can navigate through the pages by just using the arrows. Okay, you've got the grid or not the grid if you want as a choice. If you see grid, the grid actually works with the squares because obviously you're not going to use a grid on a pattern block. Your formatting is down here again, depending if you're in a color for a square. Select what you want. Hold the shift key if you want to select multiple things. You got your formatting toolbar down here. You want to get rid of something, click on it and clear. You can add your name, all the different features. Pretty easy to use.